You think you understand mental illness, but what if most of what you've been told is completely wrong? For years, society has judged, labeled, and silenced millions, all because of myths we never questioned. Today, we're tearing those myths apart. It's time to challenge the stigma head on, to stop whispering about mental health and start talking about it like our lives depend on it. Because they do, let's flip the script, fight ignorance with truth, and empower a world where understanding wins over shame. This is how we conquer the stigma together. The dangerous myths society still believes start by exposing the biggest misconceptions, like mental illness is a weakness or it's all in your head. Use relatable examples and real life stories to make people realize how these false beliefs shape our attitudes and harm lives. Let's be real, most people think they understand mental illness, but what they actually understand are the myths they've been told for years. Somewhere along the way, we started believing that depression is just being sad, that anxiety is overreacting, or that people with schizophrenia are dangerous. None of that is true, but those ideas spread faster than the truth ever could. And the worst part, these myths don't just misinform us, they isolate the people who need help the most. When someone's struggling and they hear "just toughen up," or "you're being dramatic," what they actually hear is, "you're not allowed to feel this way." That kind of dismissal doesn't motivate, it shuts people down. Imagine telling someone with asthma to just breathe harder, or someone with diabetes to think their blood sugar into balance. Sounds ridiculous, right? Yet we do that with mental health all the time. The truth is, mental illness isn't a moral failure or a lack of willpower. It's a health condition that deserves the same compassion and understanding we give to any other medical issue. But that shift starts with us questioning what we think we know, calling out misinformation when we hear it, and replacing judgment with empathy. Because until we stop seeing mental illness as something to be ashamed of, people will keep hiding instead of healing. The hidden cost of stigma show how stigma keeps people from seeking help, leading to suffering, silence, and sometimes tragedy. Use a human-centered angle, the emotional, social, and even financial consequences of untreated mental health issues. Here's something we don't talk about enough, the real cost of stigma. It's not just about awkward conversations or side eye when someone says they're in therapy. Stigma literally keeps people from getting help. Think about how many times someone has felt the symptoms of depression or panic attacks and thought, "I can't tell anyone. They'll think I'm weak." That silence doesn't just hurt emotionally. It delays diagnosis, worsens symptoms, and in too many cases, leads to tragedy that could have been prevented. We say mental health matters, but the moment someone opens up, we start judging, we minimize, we compare. We tell them to be grateful, to think positive, to pray harder. And while encouragement is good, invalidation is not. Every time we dismiss someone's pain, we build another wall between them and the help they need. Those walls become years of suffering, broken relationships, lost careers, and sometimes lives that end too soon. The irony is, stigma doesn't just hurt the person struggling, it hurts families, workplaces, entire communities. When we're too afraid to talk about mental health, we allow the problem to grow unchecked. But when we break that silence, healing begins. Conversations open doors, understanding builds bridges, compassion saves lives. So if we truly want a healthier world, it's not enough to say end the stigma. We have to live it, by showing up for people, by listening without judgment, by making it normal to ask for help. The science we ignore. Bring your Dr. Mike energy here. Simplify neuroscience and psychology. Explain how mental illness is rooted in brain chemistry, trauma, and environment, not bad choices. This is where you educate and bust myths with evidence. Let's talk about something most people overlook: the actual science behind mental illness. Because for too long, society has treated it like a character flaw instead of what it truly is, a medical condition rooted in biology, chemistry, and environment. When someone says they have depression, they are not just sad for no reason. There are measurable changes happening in their brain, imbalances in neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, structural differences in how certain regions communicate, even genetic factors that make them more vulnerable. This is science, not weakness. The same goes for anxiety, bipolar disorder, PTSD. These aren't made-up labels or excuses. They're real, diagnosable conditions with biological underpinnings, just like asthma or hypertension. But here's where the stigma sneaks back in. We accept a broken arm because we can see it on an X-ray, yet when the brain struggles, we start questioning its legitimacy. That double standard keeps people from believing their own pain is valid. And yes, environment matters too. Childhood trauma, chronic stress, lack of sleep, social isolation. They all rewire how our brains respond to the world. You can't think your way out of that any more than you can think away an infection. What you can do is seek treatment, whether that's therapy, medication, or both. And that's strength, not surrender. When we understand the science, we replace blame with empathy. We move from what's wrong with you to what happened to you. And that shift changes everything: how we treat people, how we talk about mental health, and how we heal. How language and media fuel the problem. Analyze how movies, social media, and even our casual words, crazy, psycho, attention seeker, deepen stigma. Highlight how small shifts in language can create massive cultural change. You know what's wild? The words we use every single day can either heal or harm, and most of the time we don't even realize it. How many times have you heard someone say, "That's crazy," or "He's totally bipolar," like it's just casual slang? It might sound harmless, but language like that turns real conditions into punchlines. It teaches people that mental illness is something to joke about, to fear, or to dismiss. And when that message gets repeated over and over, it seeps into our culture until stigma feels normal. Then there's the media. Movies and TV shows love to dramatize mental illness, portraying people as dangerous, unstable, or broken beyond repair. They rarely show the full picture: the mom managing her anxiety while raising 2 kids, the student balancing medication and therapy while acing their finals, the person rebuilding their life after trauma. Instead, we get extremes that make viewers think mental illness equals chaos. That's not storytelling, it's stereotyping. But the truth is, media and language also have the power to do the opposite. Every time we show a real human story, someone seeking help, someone healing, someone thriving despite their diagnosis, we chip away at ignorance. We replace fear with familiarity. We start changing how people see mental health and how they see themselves. So yes, words matter, representation matters, and awareness only works if it's accurate. If we want to challenge stigma, we have to start with how we talk, how we write, and how we listen. The courage to speak up. Show examples of people, doctors, celebrities, or ordinary heroes, who broke the silence and changed minds. Make it emotional and empowering. This is the heart moment of your video. Let's talk about courage. Not the kind that comes from running into danger, but the kind that comes from saying, "I'm not okay." That's real bravery. Because in a world that still whispers about mental health, speaking up takes guts. Every time someone opens up about their depression, anxiety, or trauma, they're not just helping themselves. They're giving permission for others to do the same. That's how movements start. One voice becomes two, two become hundreds, and suddenly silence doesn't feel so heavy anymore. Think about the people who have shared their stories publicly: actors, athletes, doctors, even your friends. When they speak out, They shatter the illusion that success or confidence equals perfect mental health. They remind us that struggling doesn't mean failing, it means being human. But here's the truth: courage doesn't always look like a viral post or a big speech. Sometimes it's just getting out of bed, making that therapy appointment, or admitting to someone you trust that you need help. That quiet bravery deserves just as much respect, and the ripple effect is powerful. When we speak up, others listen. When we listen, others heal. That's how we shift from judgment to understanding, from stigma to support. Because vulnerability isn't weakness, it's the bridge that connects us. The revolution we need, redefining normal and strong. Inspire your audience to be part of the movement, to normalize therapy, open up conversations, and challenge judgment. Use action-driven words, educate, advocate, listen, and heal. Leave them with a sense of purpose and belonging. If we really want to change how the world sees mental health, we have to redefine what normal even means. For too long, we've treated emotional pain as something to hide, something that makes you different. But what if we stopped pretending everyone's fine all the time? What if we accepted that struggling is part of being human? That's where the real revolution starts. Not in a clinic or a conference, but in everyday conversations, in classrooms, in families, in how we respond when someone says, "I'm not okay." Normal shouldn't mean perfect, it should mean real. It should include people managing anxiety, depression, OCD, bipolar disorder, all of it. Because when we accept that mental health challenges are part of the human experience, we take away the shame. And that's when healing begins. We've spent years teaching people to tough it out, to put on a smile, to fake their way through pain. But that mindset doesn't build strength. It builds distance. Real strength is honesty, it's community. It's the courage to be seen exactly as you are, without apology. And yes, change won't happen overnight. But every time we talk openly, every time we choose compassion over judgment, we're redefining what it means to be okay. That's how we create a culture where getting help isn't a last resort, it's a normal part of life. If there's one thing to take away from this, it's that challenging stigma isn't just about awareness, it's about action. It's how we speak, how we listen, and how we treat the people around us. Every time we choose understanding over judgment, we move one step closer to a world where mental health isn't hidden in the shadows. So let's stop getting it wrong. Let's rewrite the story together with empathy, truth, and courage. Because when we challenge the stigma, we don't just change minds, we save lives.